On October 3rd of 2023, Mary Had a Little Lamb is the latest horror reimagining of something of our beloved childhood, and this was sent to me early by the awesome folks over at Uncork'd Entertainment, so a big thank you to them for doing that. However, is this actually any good, or is it in the pile of movies that has kind of just ruined these kind of childhood classics? Yeah, let's throw this one in the pile as well. Directed by Jason Arber and starring people such as Christine Nyland, Mia Kelly, Danielle Scott, Gaston Alexander, and many, many more. Mary Had a Little Lamb tells a story of Carla, who hosts a podcast, and the podcast is threatened to be cancelled. However, she is going to track down a recent story of missing people in a local area to try use this as her podcast story, but gets more than she bargains for. I'd like to give a huge thank you to all my awesome patrons who help to really support the channel. If you want to join Patreon, shop merch, buy a copy of my debut book, you can find a link to that down below in the description box. And also, if you want to request a movie for me to watch, I do have a link to my PayPal where you can request this to be watched as a short and reviewed with a shout out, or you can request a long form review with a shout out, also link down below in the description box. By now, we've had quite a few of these childhood reimaginings, as I've already covered on the channel: Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and the main one, just to name a few, in an arsenal of ones I've yet still to cover. Those movies, elements of them were fun, but ultimately they kind of failed to kind of capture my attention, or that attention span enough where I want to rewatch it over and over, or even add it to the physical media collection behind me. So how does this one stack up? Well, yet again, this has some elements I actually did enjoy. There's parts I did find myself to be amusing, or maybe laughing at for the wrong reasons, but ultimately it still falls in that latter heart where I don't have an urgency to rewatch this. But before we go into that, let's go into a couple of positives. Firstly, I will say the acting overall. I mean, come on, it's a B movie, so you're not going to get amazing acting. I will say the best two performances here, without a shadow of a single doubt, firstly is to Mia Kelly, who plays Carla, who kind of reminds me of like a younger Lindsay Lohan. I mean, hey, that's a compliment. It's just, yeah, I just feel like as if she was one who definitely got the most character development, which is understandable. The movie is about her and her podcast at the end of the day, but yeah, I thought she did good for kind of like what she's given. And Christine Nyland also plays the part of Mary, of course, who has the little lamb. And Christine Nyland plays that character, and I think when the character hasn't got kind of speaking lines and has to kind of express emotions through body language, I think that the actress actually does a pretty good job. And there was parts I was thinking, wow, this was kind of like a creepiest shot. I was like, fair play to Mary. There is also a couple of moments here where actually, you know, they did kind of spend a little bit of budget on the kind of practical effects and like a little bit of blood. When they did, I appreciate that. I thought, wow, okay, cool. You know, like a lower budget studio like Uncork'd Entertainment usually produces these kind of movies. I thought, wow, they're kind of breaking the boundaries a little bit. Of course, there's some bad CG blood in here at times as well. We'll get into that. But the kind of practical side that they actually use, yeah, I'll give them props. There's actually some really cool ones here. And the final positive I've got to give here is there's some gruesome kills. There is kind of like a slasher feel to this as well, which is nice. But I will also say like the on-set location of this kind of big house in like the middle of nowhere definitely serves a purpose. Now, I might be wrong, but this kind of seems like a very familiar setting of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I could be wrong here. I'm not really too sure. I know two of the actresses in here, like Danielle Scott and Mia Kelly, have appeared in that one. Now, with all that aside, let's dip dive right into the bottom of the ocean of the negatives. So, first one is here, guys, the lamb character itself. Not to say that Gaston Alexander, by the way, does a bad job as the lamb, because he doesn't actually as the lamb. He's got the height, he's got a kind of like a build to him as well to kind of make it like seem as if it's like a menacing figure. But there's a couple of inconsistencies. There's one part where I kind of like near beginning, middle of the movie. Like the lamb has like a little run, almost as if you kind of like expect maybe like a lamb to kind of like trot, for example. And then towards the end of the movie, it's running like a normal human being. And I was like, hold on, is that its run? Or is that the run for the character? I don't know really what was going on. But there's also then another inconsistency, because when the car breaks down and kind of Carla and the podcast hosts like stay at Mary's house, and it's in the trailer, it's not really a spoiler. Mary says to them, oh yeah, stay here the night, the mechanic will be here the next morning. So we get to that next morning, and then the Carla's crew are like, oh yeah, the mechanic's coming tomorrow afternoon. And I was like, hold on, we're already on the next day of when the mechanic's supposed to be coming. Why is it now another day? That was not explained in the kind of story arc like before there. So it was just kind of like a little goof and kind of like a inconsistency, so to say. There was one part that really, really made me laugh here, and it's when Danielle Scott's character is making out with this hot guy. Yeah. And you can clearly tell when like they're kissing on the couch in like the first scene. You guys can see this image right here. They're clearly not kissing. She's got like her mouth away from his, and that just absolutely made me burst out laughing. And I mean, as I said, there's some CG blood here. The CG blood, when it's used, didn't look great. I appreciate they had to kind of throw that in there, and some sound effects as well. And they definitely used some sound effects for this lamb character. And the ending of this movie, let's just say this, it is a very tribute kind of style to a very iconic 70s horror movie involving a chainsaw, and that's all I'm going to say, and I bet you guys will probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So my overall score for Mary Had a Little Lamb is between a 1.5 and a 2 out of 5 stars. Have you seen this movie? Are you going to check it out? Well, let me know in the comment section down below. As you've heard my opinion, now it's time for your opinion. I would love to continue discussion down there, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel by clicking that red button down below, and until the next time that I see you guys, I'll be seeing you later.